minute. I'm going to go ahead and get everyone checked in just based on the orientation of my screen here. So I see that we have looks like M. Munchel. If you could, and I'll ask everyone to do this as I call your name. If you could just take yourself off mute, let me know your full name and who you're representing here today. So is it Ms. Munchel or Munchel? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, my name is Michelle Munchel.
Okay.
I'm Carrera Construction. I will be representing Banu and Rukmani.
Okay, representing who?
Banu and Rukmani with Houndstown.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. We have a Jillian.
Yeah, hi, I am Jillian Armstrong. I am the real estate and construction project manager for Houndstown Corporate. So support Bob and Rickman.
All right. Welcome. Okay, Rukmani.
Yes, I am the one of the franchise owners of Houndstown, and yeah, I'll be representing myself.
Okay, great. Is it okay if I refer to you as Rukmani?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Let's see. We have. Is it Banu?
Yep, that's me. I'm the other owner of Subaru Enterprises DBA Houndstown that we're going to be talking about.
Okay. Fantastic. Welcome. We have a Jeff Baumgarth. Jeff, are you with us?
Yes, Jeff Baumgarth with the Myers Cooper Company. We are the property owner.
Okay, fantastic. Welcome, everyone. And I see we also have Matt Lascheid here, who is the zoning plans examiner for the city of Cincinnati. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, I need to run through our hearing script. This will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we can jump right into it. So this is the March 22nd, 2023 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. The case before today is case number ZH20230020. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If there were anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to speak after the applicant had presented its case. I will give Mr. Lascheid an opportunity to provide any testimony in addition to a staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony and or argument offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. So for our purposes here today, it looks like all 6 of the participants here, or 6 of the 7, are here either as the applicant or on behalf of the applicant or the owner. And so I'll allow you all to orient this however you would like. One of you can speak, all of you can speak, really in whichever order or however you want to present. Really, I'm looking for some background on the project. Why of course you want me to grant the relief and why the relief is appropriate for this particular piece of property. So again, however you all want to orient that is perfectly fine with me. I'll then go to Matt Lascheid to add any testimony that he would like, again, in addition to his staff report. We'll have some questions along the way. Then I'll allow, again, one or all of you to make any closing remarks. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. I may also refuse to consider hearsay testimony. That's generally evidence you want to introduce that consists of statements made by someone who's not present here today. And I would hope that with 5 people present, that there wouldn't be too much of that. But that's also discretionary. So if you feel like there's a piece of information that's really important that you'd like to share, feel free to go ahead and do that. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly. But to the extent that there's some defect with the tech that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, the last thing I need to do here is just swear in all of our witnesses. So the zoning code requires me to swear in witnesses who intend on providing testimony. So if you want to provide any testimony here today, ask questions, really do anything other than just strictly observe, then again, the zoning code requires me to swear you in. So if you believe that's you, or you know that you would like to provide some testimony, I can swear you in now. If you're not sure, I can swear you in as we go. But I would ask if you do want to provide some testimony here today to go ahead and take yourself off of mute. I'll ask everyone to raise their right hand. I need you to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. All right, so who will be taking the lead here for us today on the presentation?
I think I'll take the lead as a
Okay.
franchise owner.
Great, floor is yours.
So yeah, thank you, David, for this opportunity, and thank you, Matt, for constant support during this project. Appreciate it. The reason that we are here today is for the conditional use hearing of a doggy daycare that me and my wife, Rukmani Vijaykumar, who is on the call, are planning to open. As part of the zoning code 1419-21B, there is a conditional use approval that is needed for any kind of animal service facility or an exercise area. And that's the reason that that we're asking for that conditional use, because we want to have an outside area of just 20 by 20 feet that is kind of blocked off with a privacy fence, 6 to 8 foot privacy fence with maybe as a concrete platform that fills that enclosed space. And
Sorry, could you say that again? You said there'll be a privacy fence, and where's the concrete?
Inside the privacy fence.
Oh, gotcha.
Inside the
As
boundary of the privacy fence. Yeah, as a platform instead of
Gotcha.
just the normal ground.
Sure.
And yeah, and currently this from the I guess from the road that is there, it's about like over 30 to 50 feet away setback. So it's very inside of the boundary or the region where the fence is going to be. And right across the street is across, well, the road that currently adjoins it is the Red Bank Expressway with the speed limit around 45 miles an hour, where cars are traveling pretty regularly. And across from that is a power station currently that resides over there. And then there's a residential district that is 260 feet away, I believe. And then the closest residential building is around 400 feet away. Those are some statistics, but then, yeah, we feel that, this fence offers pretty good aesthetic because we were going with the white, and that's the exterior of the current building anyway. And it's currently kind of blends in with the topology that is already there. And especially if you look across the street, it's a power station. Nobody would be looking at this from that power station and feeling that this is awkward. As a driver's driving by, again, it's a 45 miles an hour speed limit that is there. Cars are traveling. There's I think, engineers as we are, me and Rukmani went there with our phones and recorded the decibels, and we averaged around 65 to 90 decibels when the cars are traveling. And then just to see, we also took our dog and just tried to see how much decibels that you can actually detect from the sidewalk. And her well, it's just one dog, obviously, but it gives us a good metric. We saw that there was no change in the decibels that when we recorded it. So in terms of the barriers, aesthetic barriers, we feel that it does not make it any different than what the existing building is, because it's again white. What we're envisioning is white. That's what we want to go with, and fits into the outer exterior of the building itself. And then as terms of the sound or anything, if you're traveling at 45 miles an hour, again, the car speed itself is around 265 to 90 decibels, so you wouldn't be hearing the dogs. And we plan to not have the dogs there 24/7. That's not our intention. We are only between 7 to 7, and we're only doing a periodic, maybe 3 times a day, a kind of a let out kind of area to relax for 15 to 20 minutes.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Anything else right now you wanted to share?
So one more point I think I missed was the fencing, the vinyl fencing. When we looked up the STS rating on the vinyl fencing, they came out between 26 to 30 STS rating, which is 90 to 95% direct sound cancellation. So we feel that again, that also is a barrier enough to stop any kind of sound traveling past to the road or anywhere else.
Gotcha. Okay. So a quick question: Have you had a chance to review Matt's staff report?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Got a chance to.
And I typically like to ask folks this during the hearing because I can, choose to incorporate Matt's recommendations or not incorporate Matt's recommendations. And it looks like one condition that he attached to his recommendation for approval was to add additional evergreen or vegetation around the outdoor exercise area. I'm assuming that's around the fence, right, Matt? To further, buffer the sonic and visual impacts. Do you have any response to that?
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to bring up the fact that we want to buffer this as much as we can, but adding more vegetation, I don't know if it's going to add to the aesthetic already. That we said, it's kind of blends into the building itself. And then on top of that, we want to use the vinyl fencing, which is again about the STS rating, like I kind of mentioned. And we are already way past the setback that is required, and we want to use 6 to 8 feet of fencing. So that also allows for further reduction of any sounds that are traveling. Another thing is that this is a startup, obviously, for us. Me and Rukmani, we're spending, putting a lot of our money, our personal money into this. And again, this is another added cost, at least upfront cost that we haven't evaluated. So this will put us back a lot. And then maintenance is also going to affect us as like a small business owner. Obviously, we can compete with the Res Dog, which is the other one that we want to compete with.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, great. Let's see. Yeah, as I look at this, I think as I look through the standards for conditional uses, I think that I agree with you and with the staff that this is appropriately located, designed, and configured. However, another standard I have to look at is the adverse impacts, and so it doesn't look like there's a whole lot here. I guess you've already talked through this, but the biggest impact I would see is to the business next door potentially having some noise impacts. Could you talk any more about that, or why you think that won't be a problem other than the vinyl fencing? Is there anything about that, the property itself or the usage of the business next door, that you think will mitigate any of the sonic impacts?
Yeah. Can I have
can,
Jeff? Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead,
can
Jeff.
speak to the businesses next door.
Sure.
The immediate next door neighbor and they are separate buildings, so they're not really connected. But the immediate next door neighbor is a fitness place that has indoor music, so they really probably wouldn't hear anything from outside anyway with their music going. And on the opposite side is Played Again Sports, which is a retail establishment that also has an interior speaker system where they play music or Muzak or whatever the commercial radio is. So they're not hearing much from outside other than the traffic noise. And as Banu addressed, the the dogs barking are no louder decibel rating than the traffic noise. So I don't know that they would necessarily or anything anyway.
Okay. All right. I think that's all the questions I have now. Did anyone else on the applicant owner team want to say anything before I give Matt an opportunity to weigh in here?
I just wanted to mention one thing. It will be an 8-foot fence, and then it won't be a 6-foot. We just like to protect, any dog escape if possible. And then the other thing is it will always be supervised. So there will always be a human outside with the dogs, managing the dogs and, mitigating any sort of too loud of barking or anything like that. So just wanted to make those two statements clear.
Gotcha. Do you have an estimate for how many dogs you anticipate are going to be able to fit into that space at one time, or that you'll allow in that space at one time?
Yeah, we only allow 5-ish dogs out at a time, supervised. It's just safety wise to keep a manageable amount out there. So even if there were, 50 dogs in-house, there would only be 5 out at a time.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks. All right, Mr. Lashad, anything you wanted to offer?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate our recommendation. So the recommendation is approval. The conditional uses approval is required in this district because there are areas of the city that an outdoor animal exercise area may not be as appropriate. We feel that this area is more appropriate. As Banu said, it's across from a power station and a pretty busy street, so it's not like there's somebody living right next to it. We do recommend the landscaping because this is sort of an unusual condition. Typically, this would be in the back of the property where it's not visible from the right of way. No one's going to be walking past or driving past and see it typically. This commercial property is a bit unique because it's got the rear of the building faces a pretty busy street. So with that in mind, we are recommending the landscaping to just improve the appearance a little bit and make sure that, people driving past or walking past aren't going to see or hear it. And then the other question I had, you mentioned an 8-foot tall fence. I don't believe that was identified in the plans. The code would limit fencing in commercial districts to 6 feet. So if 6 feet is okay with you, then we could limit it there, or this hearing may be an opportunity for you to request relief of that. David, I'll leave that up to you. But yeah, it's 1421-33 of the municipal code would limit fencing in commercial districts to 6 feet. So if you'd like to request relief of that here, you may be able to do so. Otherwise, it would be limited to 6 feet. So that's all I have to add. I'm open to any questions or anything.
Thanks, Matt. I'm pulling up trying to find the plans where it mentions fence height. Does anyone have that handy for reference, or Matt, do you have what was submitted and to the owners of the property, Banu and
Yeah.
Rukmani? Can you confirm the
Yeah,
height?
we in the plans we had it at 6 feet at the time of submission.
Okay, that was my
Okay.
mistake. Then we can work around 6 feet if we have to. We just if we are allowed to, we will 8 feet just for the safety of the dogs. But we definitely have worked around the 6-foot limit before. So
you would like 8 feet, but 6 feet is what's in the plans. Is that right?
yeah, if 6 feet is the requirement, then we can definitely work through that. If our typical standard for outdoor yards for the safety of the dogs is 8 feet, but if we definitely have used 6-foot fencing with caution, so not a problem. If that's not something we want to get into with this, we're totally good with 6 foot as well.
So we're planning to put a net on the top. So that way it limits the dog, even if it's jumping, the net is going to protect the dog from jumping out. So that was the intention of the net.
I think for simplicity, we should stick with 6 feet just because that's what the city expects to see. And with the netting, I think you're addressing any of the jumping issues.
I agree.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Great. Thanks, Mr. Lashide, for bringing that point up. Anything else from the applicants, owners, or anyone from the construction team in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
I just bring up the point that in the city zoning code, they address fencing as an adequate buffer. So the concept of putting additional buffering in front of buffering kind of doesn't make sense to me. You know, in a buffer yard, fencing is an adequate buffer.
Okay.
So buffering was my question.
Got it. Okay, great. Well, we'll leave it at that then. I want to thank everyone for their time, their testimony here today. I've had a chance to review the application materials and the staff report. I am going to approve the requested relief. I want to take a little bit closer look at the condition. I'm obligated to do a site visit, which essentially amounts most of the time to drive by. So I will probably do that just before I make a decision on the condition with the vegetation. I think it would make sense for me to actually get on the ground there, and so I'll do that. And I'll have a decision out to you, as I mentioned at the beginning, within 2 weeks. Typically, what I do is I'll, when I finish my decision, I'll include whether that condition is a part of it, is a part of the approval or not. And I'll put the entire decision into a PDF, email it to everybody here who's in the hearing here today, so that you all will have a copy of that really just moments after it's complete. Once you have that approval and that condition, you can work with the zoning department for them to go ahead and give the green light on the permits from the zoning side. Let's see, any questions about any of that process, that process piece? Okay.
I have a quick question. So is the installation of vegetation still going to be reviewed, and would that be, decided and let us know that vegetation has to be installed or not? You haven't decided yet, is that what?
Yeah, so I've decided that the enclosure can go in, and so hopefully that gives you guys the opportunity to just get the ball rolling on that piece of it. What I was referring to earlier was wanting to get a ground view look at the property and spend some more time reviewing the code before I make a decision on the recommended condition for Mr. Lashide, which is the vegetation. Sorry if I'm continuing to say that in a confusing roundabout way, but I think the answer to your question was yes. I have not made a decision yet on the vegetation, but I will include that when my written decision comes out, which is the document that you'll need in order to get the permitting to move forward. All right. Well, if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to myself. I'm sure Mr. Lashide would be happy to answer questions if you have any for him as well. I can't take any more evidence or substantive testimony or anything like that, but I can answer questions about process, and I can give you an update on the status of the decision over the course of the next 2 weeks, if you'd be interested. Okay, great. Well, thanks again, everyone, for your time and your testimony. Good luck with the project. Good luck with the business. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and we are adjourned.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.